What's up, guys? We're back with a full slate of MLB action here on Friday, May 2nd. We're going to give out plays on every MLB game on the slate and the NBA playoff showdown between the Rockets and Warriors. I'll give you my dog of the day and pick out my massive lock, my pick that regardless of price I think has the highest chance of cashing today. Slam that like button and subscribe to the channel if you want to keep seeing these videos every single day, and let us know in the comments anything you're thinking out there. I personally reply to every single comment every single day. Check the pinned comment throughout the day to see our favorite picks, and it pays to check back a couple of times per day to see if there are any changes with injury news coming out and starters being confirmed. Yesterday, guys, is looking pretty solid. We did miss our lock of the day once again. That was unfortunate, but started things off slow. We had an over there instead of the under that we predicted on that Kansas City Tampa Bay game, but in that series, guys, we went 2-1, so we'll not get too upset. It was a weird one. Only 10 runs scored in the game, despite Shane Baz getting absolutely shelled out there. So, yeah, that was just a weird spot. I guess that's going to happen occasionally. Now, we bounced back quickly. The Blue Jays minus 110. That was a nice 4-2 win. Bull starters were excellent, but that Boston bullpen was not very good. We have the Tigers and the Angels still going on. Detroit is down 4-2, so that's not ideal, but we'll see if they can make a late game comeback against that terrible Angels bullpen. Definitely something that's a possibility. We had Asar Thompson over 4.5 rebounds. He had 6 boards and 17 points, so a very nice game for the young man. So we'll definitely take that. We cashed our underdog of the day, which was the Chicago Cubs plus 135. Got a lot of hate down there for fading Skeens, but looked not terrible, and the Cubs do come away with the 8-3 win, so we'll certainly take that one. Cashing a big underdog helps come out with a profitable day a lot. We had the Brewers minus 180 as our lock of the day. Milwaukee just flat out did not show up in that game. Pretty embarrassing stuff there from the Brewers. They lose 8-0 there against the White Sox. Kind of difficult to see that one coming, especially when they've got their ace on the mound. So we'll see what we can get going in this one, guys. We've got a full Friday slate to cover, so let's go ahead and hop in with our first game of the day. We've got the Washington Nationals going on the road to take on the Cincinnati Reds. The Nationals come into this game fresh off a pretty crazy 4-2 win there in Game 3 against the Phillies. Now, they needed that win to avoid a sweep, so we're not exactly acting like the Nationals did anything amazing. At 14-18 on the year, I guess they're not terrible. They're handing the ball to Mitchell Parker, who's off to a good start to his season, 3-1, a 2.65 ERA, one of the most promising young pitchers in the game. So obviously, I think if you're a Nationals fan, you're pretty happy you've got him on the roster. Now, his last time out was his worst start of the season by far. He got shelled by the Mets, 5 innings, 7 hits, 7 runs allowed, 6 of them were earned. He walked 5 and struck out 0. So clearly a game where he just flat out did not have his best stuff. So we'll see if he's got a bounce back in him. I think he certainly is likely to have one, especially since, the start before that debacle against the Mets, he went 8 innings, he gave up 1 hit there against the Baltimore Orioles. So definitely probably a little arm fatigue there. I think we see Parker bounce back. Now, the Washington Nationals bullpen has been an MLB worst this season overall. They're sporting a 7.12 bullpen ERA, which is hilariously bad. Now, maybe they'll get a little bit better. Obviously, coming off a game that only allowed 2 runs, not so bad there. The offense isn't necessarily incredible. They're 16th in the majors in runs scored, though, and 18th in batting average. They've been pretty average in terms of their offensive output this year, and that's a step in the right direction for a team that was pretty bad offensively a year ago. So we'll see what they can do here on the road against the Cincinnati Reds. They come into this one fresh off a 9-1 win there against the Cardinals that they needed to avoid, well, I guess not avoid a sweep, but to avoid losing that 4-game series. Now, the Reds looked terrible in that doubleheader, but then followed up with a win yesterday. They're going to be hitting the ball, and this one's Hunter Green. He's 3-2 this year, a 2.70 ERA. Obviously, he's coming off an amazing season last year. His last couple of starts, though, left something to be desired. He got shelled by Baltimore back on the 19th, and then on the 26th, his last time out at Colorado, 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs. He gave up 2 home runs in that game despite striking out 8 and walking 0. So you're going to give up some long balls there in Colorado. Sure, I can wrap my head around that, no problem. But the Rockies are a terrible offense, so you should be pitching a little bit better against a team like that. So we'll see what he can do out there. The Reds bullpen this season has not been as elite as it was at some points last year, but not bad. A 3.41 bullpen ERA, certainly reasonable there. The offense has usually been their problem. Now they just scored 9 runs in their last game, and they're doing some good stuff there. I mean, they're 7th in the majors in runs scored, 12th in the majors in batting average, but most of those runs scored numbers come from that 24-2 blowout there they had of the Baltimore Orioles. So we'll see what they can do here. They scored 9, 1, 0, and 3 runs over their last few games. So looking at the numbers, the Nationals are plus 143. The Reds are minus 167. We've got a total of 8.5. Washington, 15-11 on the road, a slight over team. Cincinnati, 8-8 at home, a slight under team. First up, I think under 8.5 is very, very live in this game. Both pitchers are very, very good and in for bounce back performances after being bad their last times out. So the under is super live. In terms of a side, I'm going to be leaning here just slightly towards the Reds. It seems like they're hitting the ball a little bit better, and that Nationals bullpen is absolutely horrifying. So you could also talk me into an under in the first 5 innings. Next up, guys, we have the San Diego Padres going on the road to take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Padres come into this game 19-11 on the year. They just won both games, that 2-game mini series there against the Giants. They're going to be hitting the ball in this one to Dylan Cease, who's 1-2 this season, a 5.76 ERA. He has been very good this year, generally speaking. Very good to maybe a little bit too much credit, but he hasn't been terrible. His last outing was against Tampa Bay, and he did give up 2 earned runs over 4 1/3 and a 4-1 loss there for the Padres. But aside from that one game where he got shelled at the Athletics, he's been pretty good this season, so we'll give him some credit. Now, the bullpen for the Padres has been insane. A 1.77 bullpen ERA has them by far the best bullpen in the majors. The offense has looked absolutely dominant at times. It's been a little bit all over the map recently, though. I mean, 5 and 7 runs in their series against the Giants looks good, but they had a terrible offensive series there against the Tampa Bay Rays before that. So we'll see what they can do out there in this one. Obviously, Fernando Tatis Jr. doing his thing. They're 4th in the majors in batting average, but 21st in runs scored. Despite being top 10 in on-base percentage, I think this team is due to put up some pretty big run numbers. So we'll see what they do here against the Pirates. They come into this game 12-20 on the year. Now, they've lost 4 out of their last 5. They just lost 2 out of 3 there against the Cubs. Losing when Skeens is on the mound probably feels bad. The Cubs ended up taking Skeens deep 3 times. So if you were with me on that Cubs underdog play of the day, maybe slam that like button. I don't know. We'll see what you do. But we're looking at the Pirates starter for this one. They've got Mitch Keller on their mound. He's 1-2 this season, a 3.97 ERA. His last couple of starts have been very serviceable. I mean, at the Dodgers, his last time out, obviously, one of the toughest situations a pitcher can be in is at the LA Dodgers. 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs allowed, struck out 6, and walked 1. Now, it was an 8-4 loss there for the Pirates. That doesn't really all go on him. So, liking a lot of what we're seeing from Mitch Keller right now, generally speaking. I don't think we're going to freak out too much, but we like what we're seeing from him. The bullpen for the Pirates has been below average. A 4.09 bullpen ERA, not great. Also, we're not necessarily in love with what we're seeing from this team offensively. They're 24th in the majors in runs scored. They've scored 3, 4, 0, 2, and 4 runs over their last few games. This is not going to be a good offensive team, guys. There's just no way that's possible. Right now, they're 20th in the majors in slugging percentage, 24th in runs scored. This is a bad offense. So we'll see what they can do in this one. The odds makers had the Padres at -141, the Pirates at +120. We've got totals showing out there of 7.5 or 8. The Padres 5-7 on the road, 17-12-1 to the under. The Pirates 7-9 at home, 16-15-1 to the under. Despite both teams showing trends towards the under, I'm probably not interested in taking under 8 even, but I do think you could talk me into the Padres here at -141. I'm not in love with what we're seeing from Mitch Keller, not in love with what we're seeing from Dylan Cease, so this is not a play that's going to go in the pinned comment, but I do think if you're looking for the value side on this one, despite the fact they're on the road, I do think it's those Padres. Interrupting the picks for just a second, guys, to give you a quick reminder about our sponsor, StumpTheSpread.com. Click the link in the description to get over to StumpTheSpread.com and see the top confidence picks from our entire team of experienced cappers. Right now, our premium members are getting daily MLB, NBA, NHL, and UFC picks. Major League Baseball has been our most profitable sport the last 3 years in a row and has been cruising so far this season, printing a ton of units for our premium members. At StumpTheSpread.com, you'll see exclusive free picks only posted there, our free-to-use bet size calculator, and our premium top confidence picks, which might not and usually will not always match what you see here in the videos, as I am not the MLB capper over there for Stump the Spread. You need to sign up for our free email newsletter from Stump the Spread as well. All you have to do, go over there, set up a free account. You put in your name, your email address, and that is it. You'll be on that free email newsletter. You'll get updates on our results. You'll also get a free pick every single day straight to your inbox, and you will often get free pick parlays in there as well. So make sure you're signed up for that. If you think you're signed up, you're not getting those emails, just check your spam folder. They're probably ending up in there. If you're a huge fan of what we do here every single day, you can sign up for a channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Channel members are eligible for members only giveaways. We'll be giving away a Stump the Spread hoodie to one random channel member each month. And as we get more channel members, we'll be doing more and more giveaways each and every month. Members also get early access to our videos and get their names up on screen in every single video. Guys, let's hop back in and get back after these games. We're now going to take a look at the Arizona Diamondbacks going on the road to take on the Philadelphia Phillies. The Diamondbacks come into this game. They just won 2 out of 3 at the Mets, so that's not bad at all. No problem there. They're hitting the ball in this game to Merrill Kelly, who's 3-1 this season. A 4.41 ERA, though, could use a little work, but Almost all of that came in his start back on the 3rd of last month against the Yankees, where he got absolutely obliterated. Since then, he hasn't given up more than 2 earned runs in any start, and we see the Diamondbacks are 3-1 over those starts. The only one they lost was in extra innings there in 10 innings against the Atlanta Braves. So, yeah, not his fault. Obviously, not Merrill Kelly's fault. Now, the bullpen situation there for the Diamondbacks is something you're going to have to be monitoring. A 4.46 bullpen ERA is atrocious. Maybe they need to get rid of some of those bats and see if they can bring in some relievers. Also, Martinez going to the IL doesn't exactly help things out there in the pen. Now, offensively, this team is incredible. I mean, Josh Naylor batting .319, slugging .504. This team is 4th in the majors in slugging percentage, 6th in runs scored, top 8 in on-base percentage. They can absolutely hit it. Now, they haven't been hitting that hard lately. 4, 4, 3, and 6 runs over their last few. Kind of just makes me feel like they are due for a big game. So we'll see what they can do here against the Phillies, who are 17-14 this season. They won 2 out of 3 against the Nationals, losing their last one 4-2. Probably leaves a bad taste in their mouth. They're going to be hitting the ball in this one to Jesus Luzardo, who's on fire to start the year, guys. He's 3-0, a 1.73 ERA. His last couple of starts have been dominant. I mean, he gave up 2 unearned runs there against the Cubs, but it was a 10-4 win there for the Phillies, and he's just been looking really, really good out there this season. This, young-ish 27-year-old is doing his thing. Absolutely doing his thing. So we're expecting pretty good stuff from him here, even against an Arizona Diamondbacks team that's obviously very dangerous at the plate. Now, once he has to come out of the game, everything changes because that Phillies bullpen is a disaster. A 4.87 bullpen ERA for the Phillies has them 25th out of 30 teams in the major league. So that's not what you want. Obviously, the offense has been doing pretty well, despite their last game only scoring 2 runs. That's not great, but they scored 2, 7, 7, 3, and 10 runs over their last few. Trey Turner batting almost 300. Kyle Schwarber up to 9 home runs, 23 RBIs. He's only batting .239, but that's what Schwarber does. He strikes out or he hits a home run. So we'll see what they can do out there in this game, guys. The odds makers like the Phillies a good amount. They're -160. The Diamondbacks are +138. We've got totals out there of 9 or 8.5. Arizona's 9-6 on the road, 15, 12, and 4 to the over. The Phillies 11-5 at home, 16 and 15 to the under. So not a lot to lean on here in terms of the total. I would maybe think you could take over, I guess, based on the weakness of both of these bullpens, but really, I think we're going to have to lean towards the Phillies in this one just a little bit with Luzardo on the mound. Now, since it's a small lean and the Phillies are -160, this is not a high-value play in my opinion, but I do think you're begging me for a side. I do like the Phillies. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Kansas City Royals going on the road to take on the Baltimore Orioles. The Royals just swept the Tampa Bay Rays. Very solid stuff there. Bobby Witt Jr. hitting a home run. That 3-game sweep for a Royals team that's now 2 games over 500 has to feel pretty freaking sweet. They're going to be hitting the ball in this one to Michael Wacha, who's 1-3 this season, a 3.38 ERA. His last start was maybe his best start of the season. Actually, no, certainly his best start of the season. 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs allowed, struck out 6, and walked 2 there in a 2-0 win over the Houston Astros. And generally speaking, I would say his last 4 starts have been decent at minimum. So liking the direction Wacha's headed right now, liking, generally speaking, what we're seeing from the Kansas City bullpen this season, much better than I would have thought. They're currently, 7th, 8th in the majors, a 3.19 bullpen ERA. Certainly very little to complain about there. And the offense seems like it's slowly starting to come to life. I mean, they scored 8, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, and 6 runs over their last few games. So not a powerhouse necessarily. They're still 29th in the majors there in runs scored, so that's not very good. But a lot of these hitting numbers are headed in the right direction, and Bobby Witt Jr. is killing it. So liking what we're seeing from the Royals right now as they take on the Baltimore Orioles, who did just win 2 out of 3 against the Yankees. That's pretty impressive and pretty surprising. They're still only 12-18 on the year. They're handing the ball to Dean Kremer, who's 2-4 this season, a 7.04 ERA. He's had at least one good start. He had a decent start, but not a great start against the Kansas City Royals back on the 4th of last month. That was in Kansas City. He went 4 1/3 innings, gave up 8 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them were earned, walked 0, struck out 1 in a game we eventually saw Baltimore lose 8-2. And part of the reason we saw Baltimore lose that game 8-2 was their bullpen sucks. It is bottom 6 in the majors, a 4.74 bullpen ERA. Please, somebody help that Baltimore Orioles bullpen. It is looking like a disaster out there, and the offense isn't looking all that much better, if we're being honest. I mean, they've scored 5, 3, 4, 0, 2, and 3 runs over their last few games. Cedric Mullins leading the way with 7 home runs, batting .278 with 20 RBIs. This isn't the team of yesteryear, guys. This Orioles team struggles out there. They're 27th in the majors in batting average, 25th in on-base percentage. They're not just not scoring because they are unlucky. They're not scoring because they're not hitting the ball. So major concerns right now for Baltimore. The odds makers don't care, though. The Orioles are -130 in this game, which is a little bit shocking to me. I guess that's based mostly on Waka having struggled against Baltimore in his last start, but that struggle was the beginning of him turning things around. So the Royals are plus 110, the Orioles are minus 130. We've got a total of 9.5. We see Kansas City 6-10 on the road, 20-11-1 to the under. Baltimore 7-7 at home, 14-13-3 to the over. I'm not backing Dean Kremer, guys. I'm not doing it. You're not going to talk me into it. I like the way Walker's throwing the ball right now. I like the Royals here at plus 110. You could also talk me into under 9.5. In theory, that's a lot of runs for these two teams to put up, but I think the Royals at plus 110 is some very solid value, and I know it's not a big underdog, but it still has a chance to be our dog of the day. Next up, guys, within the Tampa Bay Rays, going on the road to take on the New York Yankees. The Rays just got swept there at home against the Royals, so that's not a great look, and now they've got to go on the road to take on the Yankees. They're 14-17 on the year, handing the ball in this game to Ryan Pepiot, who's 2-3 this season, a 4.24 ERA. Now, his last start was dazzling there at the Padres, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run allowed, struck out 3, walked 2. Very good stuff, a 4-1 win there for Tampa Bay. So that's got to feel good. Now, the last time he faced the Yankees, it wasn't quite as smooth of sailing. He went 6 innings, which is nice, gave up 6 hits, 3 runs. They were all earned. He gave a couple home runs in that game and struck out 7 and walked 1, so that's nice. But yeah, with the exception of his last start, the 4 starts before that, he's given up at least 2 home runs. He went through a stretch where he gave up 2, 2, and 3 home runs. Like, not off to the best start for Ryan Pepiot. So we'll see what he can do, see if that Tampa Bay Rays bullpen can continue to do its thing. It's 5th in the majors, a 2.90 bullpen ERA. The offense, though, completely disappeared there against the Royals, and it's not like they've been an amazing offensive team this season. 20th in the majors in runs scored and 18th in slugging percentage. Kind of feel like accurate portrayals of how good of an offense we're actually going to see from the Tampa Bay Rays this season. So we'll be looking at what they can do against the Yankees, which could be a little bit rough. Now, obviously, Stanton going to the 60-day IL with tendonitis, that's not ideal. But the Yankees overall, 18-13 on the year, probably not too upset. They are, however, fresh off losing 2 out of 3 at the Orioles. Now they're going to be handing the ball to Max Fried, who has not been in the business of losing games this year, guys. He's 5-0, a 1.19 ERA. His last outing was against the Toronto Blue Jays. He went 6 innings, gave up 5 hits, only a single run, and it was unearned. His last start against Tampa Bay was not long ago. It was back on 4/20. It was at Tampa Bay. He went 7 2/3 innings, gave up 2 hits, no runs. It was a 4-0 win there for the Yankees. Max Fried looking out of control good this season. Out of control good. So we'll see what he can do here. Obviously, has to feel very confident going up against the Rays. Now, the Yankees bullpen this season has also been excellent. Top 6 or something like that in the majors, a 3.02 bullpen ERA. Not about to complain about that. And the offense has been a little bit uneven. Now, Aaron Judge is doing historical things at the plate. He's batting .427 with 10 home runs and 32 RBIs here in the early goings. That is crazy. That's crazy. That's insane. So we'll see if the other Yankees can follow suit. And big thanks here to Aaron Judge. They are 2nd in the majors in runs scored, 1st in batting average, 1st in on-base percentage, and 1st in slugging percentage. So probably not going to be a great time out there for Ryan Pepiot. Now, looking at the numbers for this game, you're not going to be shocked to see the Rays as big underdogs. They're plus 175. The Yankees are minus 210. We got a total of 8.5 out there. Tampa Bay 5-4 on the road, 17-12-2 to the under. The Yankees 10-5 at home, 15-14-2 to the under. Guys, the Yankees at minus 210 has a great chance to be our lock of the day. We got to get that lock of the day back on track, and I think with Max Fried out there on the mound against a Tampa Bay Rays team he's already dominated, and Pepiot going up against a Yankees team that he has struggled against, I think that all combines for a great spot here to take the Yankees at minus 210. Obviously not a great price, but that's not what the lock of the day is about. It is about cashing that pick every single day. And I know we've lost 2 in a row, but that means we're 8-2. Over our last 10. I don't think that's the end of the world. I would guarantee you we're still showing profit on that bet. So we're going to dive right back in. The Yankees minus 210. Great chance to be our lock of the day. Cruising through these games, guys. We're looking at the Cleveland Guardians going on the road to take on the Toronto Blue Jays. The Guardians come into this game 18-13 on the year, fresh off of winning 3 out of 4 there against the Twins. So we'll certainly take that. They're hitting the ball in this one to Logan Allen. We'll see what he can do. He's only 1-2 this season, a 4.21 ERA. His last outing, a big part of why those numbers have taken a big slide. He got shelled by Boston. 4 1/3 innings, 9 hits, 7 runs allowed. Gave up a home run, walked 3, struck out 2. Not a very good outing. We also noticed, Cleveland lost that game 13-3. So not great. Now, he has had some other good starts this season, so I'm not going to, sell the guy completely down the river, but it's not exactly looking amazing for Logan Allen right now. And as we notice out of the corner of our eye, guys, Detroit is threatening. It's now 4-3 in the top of the eighth. They runners on second and third with nobody out. So hopefully Detroit can bust this thing open against that terrible Angels bullpen, as we had discussed. So we'll see what they can do. But getting back on track, looking at what Cleveland's doing now, the bullpen for the Guardians, not nearly as good as last season. A 3.80 bullpen ERA has them pretty much middle of the pack there in the MLB, as opposed to being one of the best bullpens in Major League Baseball last season. The offense, I'm not gonna get excited about 4, 4, 2, 1, and 3 runs over the last few games. Kwan's batting average is falling. Kyle Manzardo's down to batting 223. This team is 23rd in the majors in runs scored, 21st in batting average, and I don't think any of that is an accident. So not loving the Guardians at the plate here as they take on the Toronto Blue Jays, who got the big win for us over the Red Sox yesterday, guys. Smash that like button if you were excited to cash that 4-2 win there for Toronto yesterday at -110, a pretty good price. So looking at what the Blue Jays are doing right now, they're about to start off this series against the Guardians by handing the ball to Chris Bassett, who's been excellent this year. 2-2, a 2.62 ERA. Now, his last couple of starts, maybe not as dominant as what we were seeing in the early goings. Giving up 4 earned runs and a couple of home runs against the Yankees his last time out. That's not great, but it's the Yankees, so we're going to cut him just a little bit of slack. Not too much slack, but I feel like you can get a little bit of slack, for getting shelled by the Yankees or the Dodgers. Those are the two main teams, and I'll be like, well, that's going to happen. So we'll see what Bassett can do in this one in a little bit of a bounce-back spot. Now, that Toronto bullpen this season, it hasn't been horrible, but it also has not been great. Somewhere around the middle of the pack there with a 3.82 bullpen ERA. The offense, kind of finding its stroke here recently. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. coming up with that huge go-ahead home run there in the eighth. Thank you, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. But 4, 7, 2, 1, and 2 runs over the last few doesn't get me super jazzed up. They're sitting at 26th in the majors in runs scored, 19th in on-base percentage, 19th in batting average. I do think Toronto could be a little bit better at the plate than what we're seeing right now, but maybe not light years better. So looking at the numbers for this game, the Guardians are plus 125. The Blue Jays are minus 145. We got a total of 8.5. Cleveland 7-8 on the road, 15-14 and 2 to the over. Toronto 10-6 at home, 18-12 and 1 to the under. So I do think under 8.5 certainly in play in this game, but I'm not super sold on Logan Allen, and that's why I'm going to also be leaning towards the Toronto Blue Jays here at minus 145. It's a little expensive, just a little bit more expensive than I would want it to be, but I think Bassett is in for a nice bounce back in this game, and that makes me think Toronto, even at minus 145, is a reasonable play to put in the pinned comment. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the LA Dodgers going on the road to take on the Atlanta Braves. Now, the Dodgers, 21-10 on the year. They just swept the Marlins. They've now won 5 in a row. They're doing what the Dodgers are getting kind of paid to do. I mean, this is the most expensive team in recent memory in the MLB, and they are they're doing the thing. Now, hey, we see Detroit tie things up now, 4-4 in the top of the eighth, second and third, 1 out. So Detroit, an excellent chance to take the lead late in this game. So definitely that Detroit pick looking better and better here. The Dodgers are going to be handing the ball in this one to Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He's 3-2 this year, a 1.06 ERA. Can't complain too much about that. His last start was against the Pirates. He went 5 innings, gave up 3 runs. Only one of them was earned on 5 hits. Now, the control was an issue in that game, no doubt about it. Walked 4, struck out 5. You can't be handing out that many walks in a major league game. Now, he was coming off his longest outing of the season where he went 7 very dominant innings and struck out 10 against the Texas Rangers, but gotta be able to back it up. If you want to go deep into games, you can't ruin your next start. So we'll see what he does in this one. Obviously, I'm expecting a bounce back and for him to be very, very good out there. The Dodgers bullpen, maybe not dominant, but a 3.71 bullpen ERA has them above average in the majors this season. The offense is looking crazy all of a sudden, guys. They scored 12, 15, 7, 9, and 8 runs over their last few games. Hernandez killing it. 9 home runs, 32 RBIs. As a team, they're 3rd in the majors in runs scored, 5th in the majors in batting average, and I think this team could be even better there at the plate. So the Braves are in for a tough one, guys. Atlanta just won 2 out of 3 at the Colorado Rockies, and losing even 1 game to the Rockies at this point has to be a little bit embarrassing. They're going to be handing the ball to Grant Holmes, who's 2-1 this season, a 4.05 ERA. Now, his last start, not great at the Diamondbacks. Now he's got to face the Dodgers, a team that he struggled against earlier this season pretty mightily. He went 4 innings, gave up 4 hits, 4 earned runs, gave up a home run, walked 4, and struck out 3, and what was a 6-1 loss there for the Atlanta Braves at the Dodgers. Now, they're going to be at home for this one, but I can't say that Grant Holmes has really been killing it lately. Now, in terms of the bullpen there for Atlanta, they're also slipping aggressively, a 4.00 bullpen ERA. That's bad. That is not good, and the offense has not been great either. I mean, cool, you put up some runs against the Rockies, but yeah, 17th in the majors in runs scored, 15th in batting average. Like, they've been a little bit better recently than they've been overall, but everybody's going to score some runs against the Rockies, obviously. Everybody's going to score some runs against the Diamondbacks, obviously. So what can you do against a real pitcher here? Well, we're about to see, because Yamamoto, he's a real pitcher, guys. He's the real deal. I'm expecting very good stuff from him in the start and overall this season. And so are the odds makers. That's why the Dodgers are minus 170. The Braves are plus 145. We've got totals out there of 9 or 8.5. The Dodgers are 4-7 on the road, 18-13 to the over. Atlanta, 8-3 at home, 14-13-3 to the over as well. I'm not going to be taking over in this game necessarily. The only way I would do that is if you thought we were potentially going to see, the Dodgers score 9 runs all on their own. I do think that's a possibility, and that's why I'm considering, the Dodgers here just straight up at minus 170 there on the money line. But I also think this might be a spot to look at the run line here on the Dodgers. I think there's a good chance that they could win this game very, very comfortably, especially in this matchup given who they're going to be going up against. And if you take a minus 1.5, you can get them at minus 107, minus 105, somewhere in that range. And that is very appealing to me. It's got a chance to end up in the pinned comment. Rolling right along here, guys, we're looking at the Houston Astros going on the road to take on the Chicago White Sox. The Astros come into this game, guys, fresh off of a loss against the Tigers. They lost that one 7-4. And speaking of the Tigers, they're now up 7-4 in the top of the 8th inning. So that play is looking very, very good. The Astros handing the ball in this one to Framber Valdez, who's 1-3 this season, a 4.00 ERA. His last outing, very good stuff. He did go 8 innings, which does give me reason for concern here against the, just in any next game. I don't care who you're facing. 8 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs. He did give up a home run in that game, and it was a 2-0 loss there for the Astros. So Valdez has to be a little bit frustrated. He's been throwing the ball pretty well, and I would say 3 out of his last 4 starts, and it hasn't really led to the kind of results you would want for your team. So we'll see what he can do, see if that Astros bullpen can continue to be elite. They're 3rd best in the majors right now, a 2.64 bullpen ERA. Obviously, not a lot to complain about there, but we can complain some about the offense, which has been finding its way recently. I mean, 4, 6, 8, and 7 runs over the last few is a lot better than what we've been getting from this team early on. They're still 22nd in the majors in runs scored and 25th in the majors in slugging percentage, so it hasn't all been sunshine and rainbows. Just the last couple games have been a little bit better. So we'll see what they can do here against the White Sox, who are fresh off of an 8-0 win there against the Brewers, who absolutely fell flat. So if you want to get down there in the comments and make fun of me for having the Brewers as my lock of the day yesterday, you sure enough can. But while we're making fun of me, let's also acknowledge the fact that we had the Cubs at plus 135. So a little bit of positive, a little bit of negative there. But the White Sox come into this game, obviously 8-23 on the year, not having a good time, handing the ball to Jonathan Cannon, who's 1-3 this season, a 4.50 ERA. His last couple of starts have not been great. They haven't been a disaster either. I mean, his last time out, 7 2/3 innings, 6 innings, 3 earned runs there against the Athletics. That's not a bad look at all, but it's not like he's had a stellar season necessarily. He's got an amazing name. We'll see if he can back that up with an amazing arm here as he, matures as an MLB pitcher. Now, the White Sox bullpen has somehow not been as bad as last year. They're still bad. Don't get me wrong. They're still bad. A 4.37 bullpen ERA is not great, but not historically bad like last season. In terms of their offense, that's looking pretty freaking bad, guys. They're 20th in the majors in runs scored, last in the majors in slugging percentage. Nobody off to a particularly good start for them. I know they're coming off of scoring 8 runs. Cool. I kind of expect them to score 0 runs tomorrow, and that's why we got to be looking at the Astros at least a little bit. I mean, they are minus 250, though. The White Sox are plus 195. We've got a total of 7.5. Houston's only 5-7 on the road, 16-12-2 to the under. The White Sox, 5-10 at home, 15-14-2 to the under. You could take under 7.5, I guess. Not a play that I'm super interested in. You could also take the Astros at minus 250, but they're not my lock of the day. I don't trust Valdez or this Astros bullpen or this Astros offense nearly enough to make it the lock of the day. Rolling right along here, guys, we're looking at the Seattle Mariners going on the road to take on the Texas Rangers. The Mariners come into this game 18-12 on the year. They've won 4 in a row, and what is that, 6 out of their last 7? They're doing their thing out there. Now, they got off to a great start last season and faded aggressively later on in the year, so we'll see if they can avoid that here. They're handing the ball to Brian Wu, who's 3-1 this year, a 3.09 ERA, and he's been very consistent this season. He did have kind of a bad start at the Giants. That's a tough team to pitch against and a tough place to pitch, but his last time out, 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, gave up a home run, struck out 8 and walked 1 in a 4-3 win there at Fenway. So liking Brian Wu right now, also liking that Seattle Mariners bullpen, a 3.70 bullpen ERA. While not quite as good as last season, is still very, very reasonable, and the offense has taken a big step forward this year. 9-5-7, 14, 4, and 4 runs over their last few. The Mariners would have killed for those kind of numbers a year ago. They're 8th in the majors in runs scored, 3rd in on-base percentage. Is this team that good at the plate? Seems like probably not, but I do think they're decent. So we'll see what they can do here against the Rangers, who are 16-16 on the year. They just lost 2 or 3 out of 4 against the Athletics. So that's not a great look. Berger going to AAA. That's not a great look. They're going to hand the ball in this one to Jack Leiter. He's 25 years old, and he's been on fire this season. 2-0, a 2.03 ERA. Now, this is only his 4th start, but he's dominated the Red Sox over 5 innings, dominated the Reds over 5 innings, and then not great at San Francisco his last time out. 3 1/3 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. Just didn't have his command going in that one. Now, there's a decent chance he bounces back in this game, but pitching against the Mariners has not necessarily been easy, and whenever he comes out of the game, the bullpen for the Rangers, while decent, is not necessarily elite, so I think the Mariners have a chance to score all throughout this game. The Rangers, on the other hand, do they have a chance to score at all? They scored 0, 1, 15, 1, 2, 2, and 2 runs over their last few games. This might be the worst offense in the majors. Like, it's not actually, like, obviously the White Sox or somebody like that is worse, but 27th in runs scored, 28th in on-base percentage. Obviously, they're missing some guys due to injury, but this team is not hitting the ball right now. So looking at the numbers, we see the Mariners at -118, the Rangers at +102. We've got totals out there of 8.5 or 8. Seattle 6-6 on the road, 17-11-2 to the over. The Rangers 11-6 at home, 23-9 to the under. That's an MLB best mark to the under, and that's a big part of why we're definitely leaning hard here towards under 8.5. I'm very happy there's still some 8.5s out there. I wouldn't be mad at you for taking under 8 either. I don't think that's crazy, but I'm going to take the best part of this. That's why you got to be able to shop around and pick your best spots to place these bets, because I think under 8.5, definitely a very good pick in this game. Now, if you're asking me for a side, I will take the Mariners at -118 as a small lean, but the better play on this one, I think, by a significant margin, is just go ahead and take that under. Next up, guys, we got the Chicago Cubs going on the road to take on the Milwaukee Brewers. Not to double dip here, guys, but slam that like button if you cashed with us on the Cubs at +135 there against Skeens. They took him deep 3 times. Suzuki homers twice. Yeah, very, very good stuff there for the Cubs. They're probably feeling pretty good at 19-13 on the year. Now, they're handing the ball in this game to Ben Brown, who's 2-2 this season, a 6.04 ERA, leaves plenty of room for improvement, especially after his last game. He got obliterated there by the Phillies. 3 2/3 innings, 9 hits, 6 earned runs allowed. So this definitely is a bounce back spot. Now, he's been facing some really tough teams. Had a great start against the Dodgers, a great start against the Diamondbacks, and then a bad start against the Phillies. So we'll cut him a little bit of slack, but I mean, you know, he's 25 years old. Like, he's going to have some bad outings. That's just going to be part of your journey as a pitcher in the big league. So we'll see what he can do out there. The Cubs bullpen is a reason for concern. A 4.64 bullpen ERA is flat out bad, but the offense can make up for a lot of it, guys. They're first in the majors in runs scored, second in batting average, second in on-base percentage, and they're slugging .451. That is 3rd best in the major leagues. Suzuki, all of a sudden, you know, killing it, batting nearly 300, 9 home runs. Kyle Tucker's obviously been doing his thing. Like, this is looking like an elite offensive team. So the Brewers probably a little bit scared here in this NL Central race because they haven't been having as good of a time. They just won 3 in a row, but they lost their last game 8-0 against the White Sox. So, yeah, make fun of me in the comments for that one. For sure, I deserve it. Now, the Brewers are going to be handing the ball in this game to Quinn Priester, who's 1-0 still, but a 3.79 ERA after getting knocked around very aggressively there at St. Louis. 5 innings, 8 hits, 5 earned runs in that one. Not a great look. Now, the bullpen situation for Milwaukee is startlingly bad. A 4.09 bullpen ERA is not good. And their offense, unlike the Cubs, not nearly good enough to support it. I mean, I say that. They've had some very good numbers this season. They had a decent series there against the White Sox, but it was the White Sox. They had a decent series there against the Cardinals, but not great. So we'll see what this offense actually levels out to be. I don't think they're going to end the year 5th in runs scored or 10th in batting average. So we'll see what happens out there with the Brewers in this one. We've got basically a coin flip here according to the odds makers. The Cubs are -112. The Brewers are -105. Total of 8.5 in this one. The Cubs are 10-6 on the road, which is very respectable. 19-11-2 to the over. Milwaukee 9-4 at home. 16-13-3 to the under. I'm not interested in the total in this game, guys, but I'll take a look there at the Cubs at -112. Nice bounce back spot for Ben Brown. Quinn Priester, I think, has been getting a little bit overvalued here early on. So, yeah, the Cubs at -112 are my lean. Now, is this going in a pinned comment? Seems like a bit of a stretch. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Detroit Tigers going on the road to take on the Los Angeles Angels. Now, it looks like the Tigers are still in pretty good shape. They're up 7-4 now in the bottom of the 8th there against the Angels. So hopefully that one can cash and turn this into a very solid, profitable day for everyone who backed my picks that are down in the pinned comment. Happy Skubal Day to all those who celebrate. Tarik Skubal going to be taking the hill there for the Tigers. He's 3-2 this year, a 2.34 ERA. His last outing, maybe his best outing of the season. 6 innings, 4 hits, 11 strikeouts, no runs allowed, and no walks allowed there against the Baltimore Orioles in a 7-0 Tigers win. So you'll love to see it. That was one of our locks that was a lock of the day back early on, and yeah, that one cashed, no sweat at all. So loving Skubal on the mound. Obviously, Detroit has to be thrilled with what they're getting from their bullpen. They're 4th best in the majors, a 2.74 bullpen ERA, and the offense doing its thing. I mean, at least 7 runs in their current game, 7 the game before that, 4, 5, 7, 6, and 4. I mean, McKinstry killing it. Torkelson hitting the ball really hard. They're 14th in the majors in batting average, but 11th in runs scored and 10th in slugging percentage. So, I don't have a lot to complain about here about the Tigers in general, especially with Skubal on the mound as they take on the Angels, who have lost, 5 in a row, probably going to be 6 in a row. They're hitting the ball to Jose Soriano, who's had some good outings this year, but a 2-4 record and a 4.50 ERA. Not throwing you a parade for that one. His last time out, 5 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them were earned against the Twins in a 5-0 loss there for the Angels. You kind of see how things tend to go here for the Angels, and it's rough to win games when your bullpen is second worst in the majors, a 4.5 or 5.49 bullpen ERA. Yikes. The offense also not looking much better. Obviously, Trout dealing with a knee injury now, and they're tied for 24th in the majors in runs scored. They're 28th in batting average, batting .214 as a team. The bottom's about to fall out here for the Angels, looking like another really bad season out there for the Angels. So looking at the numbers, you're not shocked to see the Tigers as significant favorites. They're only minus 170. The Angels are plus 140. We've got a total of 7.5. Detroit 6-9 on the road, 16-13-2 to the under. The Angels 5-4 at home, 14-14-1 to the over/under. I'm definitely taking the Tigers here at minus 170. I don't think with Soriano on the mound I can justify taking them minus 1.5, but minus 170, I can definitely wrap my head around that, guys. I don't think that's too crazy at all. So definitely give me the Tigers here at minus 170. It's a little bit of extra juice. I'm probably not putting this as the lock of the day. I've got a better one picked out, but I do think the Tigers at minus 170 could just be a regular play. In our last Major League Baseball game before we hop over and look at that Warriors versus Houston game there we have in the NBA, we're looking at the Colorado Rockies going on the road to take on the San Francisco Giants. Now, this is another pretty lopsided line. These teams are actually playing right now. They're in the middle of the 9th inning with Colorado, shockingly enough, up 4-3. So could be a bounce back spot here for the Giants. Now, the Rockies 5-25, maybe going to be 6-25 on the season. We'll see. This would be 2 wins in a row for them, which is crazy. They're going to be hitting the ball in this one to Antonio Zensatella. He's 1-4 this season, a 5.22 ERA. His last time out got knocked around by the Reds. 5 innings, 8 hits, 4 earned runs. He gave up 3 home runs in that game. So, yeah, not a starter I'm high on. Also, the bullpen for the Rockies, I mean, it hasn't been as bad as last season, don't get me wrong. A 3.75 bullpen ERA looks respectable, but are they going to be respectable all season long? Seems like a little bit much to ask, and the offense is horrendous. They might be the worst offense in the majors. They're last in runs scored and batting average. They're second to last in on-base percentage. Nobody's hitting the ball particularly well for them, so it's kind of shocking that they were able to put up 4 runs there against the Giants. So we'll see what happens in this one, but I'm not super high on the Rockies as they take on the Giants, who have lost 2 in a row, might be 3 in a row here. They're hitting the ball to Robbie Ray, who's 3-0 this season, a 3.73 ERA. Now, his last couple of outings have been very good. 7 solid innings against the Rangers, 5 solid innings against the Milwaukee Brewers. He didn't have a good start against the Phillies, but we did eventually see the Giants get the win, and the Giants are 5-0 over his last 5 starts. That is not nothing, and the Giants' bullpen's been the second best bullpen in the majors all year long. A 2.41 bullpen ERA is crazy stuff. And the offense, while it's cooled off a little bit, has still been very good. I mean, Young-Hoo Lee still batting nearly .320. Wilmer Flores with the 7 home runs. He's cooled off drastically, but they're still 12th in the majors in runs scored. I don't think they're going to stay there, though, guys, because they're 25th in the majors in batting average. They are 20th in on-base percentage. I just don't feel like they're actually that kind of offense. So looking at the numbers, the odds makers are maybe overreacting here a little bit. Now, the Rockies are plus 210. Sure, the Giants are minus 275. We've got a total of 7.5 out there. Colorado's only 1-14, maybe about to be 2-14 on the road. We'll see, but that's an MLB worst mark. They're also a MLB best 20, or almost MLB best, 29-1 to the under. The Giants are 9-4 at home. They're a significant over team, but I'm probably not taking over 7.5 in this game. I will lean slightly towards the Giants, but at minus 275, I'm not getting in on that. And with the Rockies playing better, I'm also not getting in on the Giants at minus 1.5. So this game, pretty much a stay away spot for me. Now, guys, hopping over to the NBA side, we're going to look at the one game we have on the dock. We've got the Houston Rockets going on the road to take on the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors are up 3-2. It was 3-1, but then they got obliterated there in Houston their last time out, losing eventually 116 to 131, but the game wasn't nearly that close. Now, the second unit for the Warriors did come in and make things much closer by pressing the Rockets and really wearing them down. Now, the Warriors starters only played around 20, 22 minutes, something like that. The Rockets starters all played 30-plus minutes, pretty much. Amen Thompson, 35, 33 for Van Vliet, who had another very good shooting day. Kind of interesting to see him turning things on, but overall, guys, it was just a blowout there for the Rockets. There's not a ton we can take from that game. This is going to be a huge bounce-back spot for the Warriors, who need to, play more like what we saw from them in Game 4, where Golden State eventually won 109 to 106 in a very, very close game. Obviously super, super close. Now, Jimmy Butler was huge in that game, not huge in Game 5 there. Needs to be huge here in Game 6. Need playoff Jimmy to come back. He had 27 points there in Game 4. So we'll see what happens. The Rockets, they come into this game looking pretty darn healthy. They're 100% ready to go for this one. The Warriors, they also come into this game. Everybody ready to go. Kuminga's back from that illness. I don't know if they'll be using him, but he's back. We saw some pretty cool stuff from Moses Moody and from that second unit as they pressed up on the Rockets and really made them work to get up the court and all that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't be flabbergasted if we saw the Warriors work in a little bit of three-quarter press and stuff like that against this Rockets team that, doesn't seem super confident with the ball at all times. So we'll see what happens for the Warriors. Now, the Rockets obviously played incredible there. They shot the lights out, ended up only 13 of 30, which is 43% from long range. But when it mattered, they were shooting the ball really well, especially Fred VanVleet. That's back-to-back lights-out shooting games from him. Jalen Green, extremely quiet once again. 11 points. He was a plus 20 just being out there during a blowout, but not a great shooting night either. He got off to what looked like it was going to be a hot start, but then cooled off rapidly. And Dylan Brooks, Amen Thompson, and Fred VanVleet were the real guys that made this happen. Now, nobody off the bench there for the Rockets was playing well. A problem for them in this series. They got every single call in this game, and it felt like every single bounce as well. By the end of the game, we saw Houston shoot 38 free throws against the 22 there of the Warriors, but I tell you guys, watching this game, it did not pass the eye test. Like the Rockets refs, that's what it felt like, to be honest, guys. The refs seemed like they had the Rockets to extend this series because that's really what it felt. I mean, Steph was getting tackled, and yeah, it was crazy. So I expect things to be different here, going back to the Chase Center, a home game for the Warriors. Now, looking at the numbers for this game, the Warriors are 5-point favorites. We got a total of 203.5. The Rockets 23-18-1 against the spread on the road. 46-39-2 to the over. The Warriors 19-24-1 against the spread at home. They are a 500 over-under team. In terms of that total of 203.5, I'll definitely take the over. This could end up as a rock fight and still get over that number. So I definitely think over 203.5 is live in this game. In terms of a side, taking the Warriors all the way up to -5 feels like a bit much. I'm going to be honest. It feels like a bit much. So I'm probably not going to be doing that. I guess I shade towards the Rockets getting 5 points here, but that all feels very sketchy to me. I have some player props that I like a lot more than the side or the total in this game. And first up, I like Jalen Green here under 15.5 points. Only had 11 in the blowout there in Game 5, and yeah, he's been terrible out there ever since his insane night. And what was that, Game 2 or something like that? I can't remember which game it was, but I'm not expecting anything special from him here, playing on the road in a huge pressure spot. I don't think that's going to bring out the best here of Jalen Green. On the Warriors side, I like Jimmy Butler here over 21.5 points. The Warriors, Steve Kerr, everybody already coming out talking about how they need to get him more involved in the game. And, in the Game 4 win, he had 27. I think we see something in the 25 to 30 range here from playoff Jimmy Butler. And I think that could make a huge difference here for the Warriors. On the Rockets side, I like Amen Thompson over 6.5 boards. He had 9 rebounds in Game 4 in Golden State and 6 in the blowout win. I'm expecting him to crash the boards hard here in Game 6 and come up with at least 7 boards here to cash this bet. Now, will that be enough to put the Rockets over the top? Seems like a big ask, but I do expect him to come with some rebounds. And last but not least here, guys, and this is a bet we've made before and cashed before, I like Gary Payton II over 0.5 made threes. He's only got to knock down 1. He gets lots of open looks because Houston would rather him get those shots than anyone else on Golden State. But I see him knocking down at least 1 3 here, especially playing at home in front of the home fans. Going to be all jazzed up. He's going to be playing his, trademark defense. I think we see him knock in at least 1 3. He'll probably take 3 or 4 of them. Probably more like 3, but still, I think the odds of knocking one down are very, very high. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new. But more importantly, click the link in the description to get over to stumpthespread.com, put in your name and email address, and get on that free email newsletter. It is a great way to get free information straight to your inbox every single day, and also keeps you updated on our results from our premium picks, letting you know how we're doing. And if you want to hop in, maybe purchase some sort of short-term or long-term, whatever feels right to you, membership, you can get in on some of the best value out there in the business. Guys, I really appreciate you watching. Make sure you get down in the comments, let me know anything you want to ask me about today's slate or anything else that you see here, and we'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. No more being on the road. We're going to be back home tomorrow, and we'll be bringing you tons of sports betting action.